Today I'm going to show you how to make this llama from this crochet kit. I am still working on the fox, but I'm not really happy with how it's looking at the moment, so I will get back to this. So I figured I would do this llama first. I have not opened this one yet. Surprisingly, it was sealed well. Okay, so this is everything that was inside. So we have a hook, same as the other kits. I will be using my own, and it is a 3mm. There's two small bags of fiberfill for some reason, and then one big one. I don't know why they needed to separate these out. It seems like a waste. But anyways, then we've got the yarn needle and the stitch marker. I'm going to be using safety eyes, but it does come with thread for the eyes. And then it comes with the white, and then these colors are for the saddle, which they're all actually really cute. I really like these colors. They are nothing like the one on the box, but I think I might like these better. And of course it comes with the pattern. So I'm going to quickly just weigh everything. So we are going to start off with a 6-stitch magic ring. So here is your magic ring. It should be 6 stitches. And I do have a video out now of how to make a magic ring, and it's quite detailed, so I would suggest just watching that instead, because I don't want this video to be super long like the dinosaur video was. So yeah, here is the magic ring, and that is round 1. For round 2, we are going to do all increases. So increases are just 2 single crochet stitches into 1 stitch. The first stitch can be a little bit tricky sometimes to get in, and if you are having trouble getting your hook into the stitches, I would suggest maybe remaking the ring and making it a little bit looser. So that's our first stitch, and then number 2 into the same stitch, and we're going to do that all the way around, and we will have 12 stitches at the end. For round 3, we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase, and we'll do that all the way around. So 1 single crochet, put the stitch marker back in, and then an increase. So 2 single crochets into 1 stitch, and then it's the same. So then you do another set basically. So 1 single crochet and an increase, so 2 into 1 stitch, and you do that all the way around. So you'll do it 6 times, and you should have a total of 18 stitches at the end of round 3. This is how it's looking at the end of round 3, and I also forgot to mention, if you're just using this kit and you don't have your own crochet hooks, you should be using the side with the number 4. That is pretty close to the same size as this 3mm. So yeah, just in case you didn't have your own, use the side with the 4 on it. Alright, so this is the end of round 3, and for rounds 14 to 11, we're just going to be doing 18 single crochet stitches all the way around. So that's for 8 rounds, and this is basically going to be the head. I will show you how to do 1 round. So this is round 4. We're doing 18 single crochets. So try to show it as well as I can. So into the first stitch marker back in, and so that's our first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18.
So that is basically what you're going to do for the next until round 11. So this was round 4, and we're going to do that all the way around to round 11. You may notice it's curling upwards like this. So this is the inside. So don't worry if it does curl up like this, because you can just push it down like this. It'll probably keep trying to curl upwards but the further down you get, the less it should do that. But just make sure this tail is on the inside. Here's what it's looking like at the end of round 11. So now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. And this is kind of where the pattern that it comes with starts to get confusing. So for round 12, it is saying 18 slip stitches and then a chain of 11. And here are the photos it shows, and I don't know, it just it seems like a weird way to do this. So I sort of did what it said to, except I did 9 slip stitches, a chain, and then 9 more stitches. And I think this will work. I just don't think there's any reason for these to be slip stitches. I'm not sure if you can see, but you can kind of see where it changes. So yeah, I don't think they need to be slip stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and unravel this, or frog it. And now we can do round 12. So I just can't think of any reason why they need to be slip stitches. So I'm just gonna do regular stitches. So 9 regular stitches. All right, so that is 9 stitches to here. And then in the 9th stitch, we're just gonna go ahead and make a chain. So just do a regular single crochet into the 9th stitch, and from there we're going to make a chain of 11. Okay, so you have 11 stitches in your chain, and then we are going to go into, so we're going to go into the second stitch from your hook. So there's 1, and this is the second, so we'll go back in there, and we're going to do a single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way down. So you should do 10. So into the last stitch right here, which is number 10. Once you've gotten to this point of the chain, we're going to go into the next stitch, and we're just going to do a regular single crochet, and then there should be 8 stitches left, and you're just going to do single crochet into them. So you should have around 35 stitches for round 12. It might not be exact, but that's okay. We'll fix it later. So now we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing for round 13. So we should have 9 stitches up to the chain, and now we're going to work in the chain. So I'm not sure if you can see it super well, but for our chain, the one side here on the right side is only like half a stitch, if you will. Whereas you can see on this side, it has both. Like if you think of this as a front loop only, and these are full stitches just because of how we made the chain. So you can see each sort of stitch here, and you are actually only going through one loop while you're on this side, and then once you come around, you'll work into both. So I've done 8 stitches up to this point, and now you can go into the other side of the chain, and we're also just going to continue doing single crochets. And I was able to do 10 stitches along this side. And then you're going to just do the 9 single crochets to the stitch marker. So I have 35 stitches all the way around. It's okay if yours is like one off, because it might just depend how you worked into the chain. So don't worry about that if it's like 1 or 2 off. If it's a lot off, then you might need to redo it. But if it's just 1 or 2, don't worry about it. So we're going to do the exact same thing for round 14. So we're just going to do some single crochets, so 9 single crochets, work around the chain, and then 9 single crochets on the other side. And then we should be able to start increasing for the body. Actually, when you get to the end of the chain here, I'm about 17 stitches. Go ahead and do 3 increases just on the end here. Will just help it keep that more rounded shape, and then continue on. So you'll have 38 stitches at the end of this round, which is round 14. For round 15, we're going to do 5 single crochets and an increase. Do that set 6 times, and then you'll also have 2 single crochets at the end. For round 16, we're just going to do 44 single crochets all the way around. For round 17, we're going to do 5 single crochets and then an increase, and you're going to do that 7 times, and then you're going to do 1 decrease, and you will have 50 stitches at the end of round 17. So at the end of round 17, so I did 49 stitches, and then you'll have 2 left over, and you can just do 1 decrease so that you'll have a total of 50 stitches. Oh, this is how it's looking so far. And you kind of see we're getting there. And for the next 3 rounds, so round 18, 19, 20, we're just going to do 50 single crochets. So I'm not sure yet if I want to put the face forward or if I want it to be here, outside when we get there. So this is the end of round 19, and it's time to add the safety eyes in if you're going to be using them. So I added them between rounds 5 and 6, and they're about 6 stitches apart. So just make sure you leave enough space for the nose. Instead of doing the 50 stitches, we're going to change to 48 now. So you just need to add in 2 decreases. You can technically put them anywhere, but I will do 24 single crochets, a decrease, and then 24 single crochets and a decrease. So I was actually incorrect before. So round 20 should be 23 single crochets, a decrease, 23 single crochets, a decrease, for a total of 48 stitches. Also, I just realized I put the eyes on the wrong side. I'm not sure if I should try and change it or just leave it. I kind of wanted it to match the picture, but I guess we'll see if they come out or not. If they can, I will swap them to this side. If not, it'll just have to be the opposite way. And you also can start stuffing the head part if you want to. I like to leave it just a little bit longer because I find it gets in the way. But if you want to start stuffing the head, you can start doing that. I couldn't get the eyes out and I did not want to force them, so it's just going to have to be the opposite of the picture. And for round 21, we are going to do 6 single crochets and a decrease, and you will have a total of 36 stitches at the end of round 21. For round 22, we are going to do 5 single crochets and a decrease 6 times for a total of 36 stitches. For round 23, we're going to do 4 single crochets and a decrease 6 times for a total of 30. And I'm also going to start stuffing it now. I'll be using the stuffing that came with the kit. I'm still mostly just stuffing the head at the moment. You can add stuffing here too, but I wouldn't add too much or it might get in your way. This is the end of round 23. And don't worry if it is like a little bit lumpy. It will smooth out once you've fully stuffed it. And you can go ahead and add some more stuffing now. And we will do the last round before we close up the bottom. So for round 24, we're going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease 6 times for a total of 24 stitches. Okay, I lied. There is one more round before we finish it off. And for round 25, it'll be 2 single crochets and a decrease 6 times for a total of 18. And you definitely want to continue stuffing it. This is the end of round 25, so you should have 18 stitches around here. And just make sure you finish stuffing it for how much you want it to be. Just make sure you do save a little bit for the legs. So now we can start finishing this off. So you want to cut decent amount, probably about that much. You can pull this loop all the way out. And you can also take out the stitch marker. So then what you're going to do is take your yarn needle, thread it through, and then we are going to sew the bottom shut. So while you're doing this, just make sure you're going the same direction that you were crocheting in. So you can see here, because if you go the wrong way, it will look like that. So just make sure you're going the same way you would be going if you were still crocheting. So what we're going to do is find the next stitch. So for me, it's this one right here, that one right there. What I'm going to do is work in only to the back loop, so the loops on the inside. Going to go through there. And then now into the next stitch, we're going to go up through from the inside rather than going that way. So this way. And you don't need to pull it tight just yet. And we're just going to go around the whole way, alternating which direction you're going in. So if you go in that way, the next stitch will be the opposite. And I like to just hold the stuffing out of the way so it doesn't get caught. Once you've sewn all the way around, you can just go ahead and pull it closed. Just before you close it fully though, just make sure has the amount of stuffing that you want. I might just add a little bit more. Okay, and then you can just pull it all the way. Just make sure none of the stuffing is coming out. Don't worry if it didn't close completely, we can just sew it shut. So I'm just going to you can just go around once or twice and that should close it up. And then what I usually do is just thread it through in different places. Go ahead and cut off some of the extra. And then usually I just take the back of the yarn needle and just push that remainder. Just push the remainder in. And there you go. So that is the finished head and body. It looks a little bit like a duck at the moment. We still need to do the mouth, ears, and the legs, and then the, not sure what that was called, saddle, I guess. And yeah, so for the nose, I'm just going to be using the white because the pink that it comes with is too bright for it to be the nose. I think it might look weird. So I'm just going to make the nose with the white yarn. And same as for the ears and the legs. It should hopefully be enough for all of that. Yeah, so we're almost finished. It is getting pretty dark now, so I'll probably continue this tomorrow.
One eternity later.
We are going to start working on the nose and still using a 3mm hook or the numbered 4 side of the one that comes in the kit. So we're going to start with a 4 single crochet magic ring. So 4 single crochets into the ring. Start off with your slip knots and then just 4 single crochets. So this is how the magic ring is looking. And then we will go on to round 2, which is just increases. So 4 increases for a total of 8. Now, because of how small magic ring is, this part is definitely tricky. And sometimes when I'm having problems getting into that first stitch, what I like to do is just put the yarn needle through like that and just pull it all the way through. That should just loosen the stitch just a little bit. But yeah, magic rings of 3 and 4 usually, I really don't like making them just because they're so small. There you go. Usually that first stitch is the hardest one once you get that through. So doing an increase into each stitch. I'm not going to use a stitch marker because I find it gets in the way. You can still use one because we're only doing 8. It's relatively easy to keep track. So last increase, and there you have the end of round 2. And then for round 3, we're just going to do a decrease and then a single crochet. I'm just going to do a regular decrease for this. Don't need to do an invisible decrease. I will use a stitch marker now. So 1 decrease, a single crochet, 1 decrease, a single crochet, and then 1 decrease. And that is the nose. So if it's looking like this, you can just push it to the right direction, like so, and then just finish it off. Next, we are going to make the ears. So we're going to start off with a chain 5. So make your slip knots and then just chain 5. So once you've made your chain of 5, we're going to work into the second stitch away from your hook. So we're basically skipping this one right here, and we're going to move into the one that's 1 away from there. So into that second stitch from your hook, and just do a single crochet, like so. And then we're going to do another single crochet. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets. So a double crochet is where you wrap the yarn around your hook before you put it into the stitch, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through the yarn, and you will have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through just the first 2 like that. So you'll have 2 hooks, 2 loops left, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through both of those, and that is your double crochet. We'll do it one more time. So yarn over and then put it through the stitch. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through that to have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops, and that is your double crochet. And then lastly, we're just going to do a little slip stitch. And a slip stitch is similar to single crochet, but instead of, yarning over and pulling through here, you're just going to pull the loop that you initially had through like so. And that is the ear. So I already made the other ear, so you're gonna want to make 2. I went ahead and sewed on the nose and 1 ear. Just wanted to see how it was looking. I think it's turning out pretty cute. So I've made 2 of the legs here. I didn't make them too tall. Like, I think they're a bit taller on this one, but I don't want to make them too tall just to make sure there was enough yarn for all 4 legs. So for the legs, we are going to do a 6-stitch magic ring. Once you have your magic ring of 6, we are going to move on to round 2, which is a single crochet and an increase 3 times for a total of 9. For the next round 3, we're going to do back loops only. For back loop only, you can think of it as the loop that is farther away from you. The front loop would be the one that's closer to you. So here we have, I'll do this one, you can probably see it better. So if we have this stitch right here, looks like a V. So usually when you do crochet regularly, you're going under both of these loops here. For back loop, we are going to go through only this one right here that is towards the back, and then just for future reference, this is the front loop. So back loop only, which is this one, and we're going to do that all the way around, so do it 9 times. So at the end of round 3, you should have 9 stitches all the way around, and they should all be back loop only. So for rounds 4 through 7, it is just 9 single crochets, and I will just come back once that is done. Here is the finished leg. You can stuff it as well, so I've already stuffed these ones. And you're going to want to finish this off. So I have a decent amount of yarn left, so I'm going to leave a decently large tail. For sewing, you want to just make sure you have enough to sew it on. And so you want to make 4 legs. I just need to make 1 more. And then we can start assembling. And then the last thing will be to make this bit. As for sewing, if you don't have these pins, it's okay, but if you are going to continue crocheting, I would definitely recommend getting some. So I'm kind of just getting a rough idea where I want all of the legs to be. And I'm kind of hoping it will stand up on its own. So I think I like this placement. So just see if it will stand. Okay, and it does. So I'm just going to place the legs about here. So the front and the back legs kind of match the spacing, and you can decide where you want these placed. I'm just gonna go with this. This is how it's looking with 3 of the legs sewn on, and I'm just going to sew this last one on. So before you sew on the legs, you want to make sure to finish this part off. So as you can see here, you want to sew it in the direction that you were crocheting in so that it will be nice and flat. If you go the opposite way, you're going to get this sort of bump here, so you'll know if it's the wrong way. So what I do is just, so you want to work into the front loop there, just pull it through like so, and then you can just go through also the back loop. Oh wait, yeah, and so it'll kind of just look like that. That way it'll be easier to sew on. And then you can place it like this. If you don't have any pins to hold it in place, what I would suggest is, so pick where you like it. You're going to want to put 1 stitch in like that. So you have 1 stitch in there, and then what you can do is just go across. So put another stitch right here. Just make sure it's still in the right place. And then you want to actually attach it to the leg. So you can kind of, I would suggest to keep checking and just make sure it's always in the right place. And then just go in, and then we're going to add another stitch over here. And then we're going to put 1 more on this end, and then it'll be secured in place so that you can sew it all the way around. If you have these sewing pins, you don't need to do this part, but if you don't have any, this is probably the best way to do it. Just that way it will actually be in the right place once you sew it down. Okay, so I like that placement now. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and sew it all together. Once you've got it all sewn up, you can just tuck the tail away. So what I would do is just go in here. You can come out pretty much anywhere. And then you can snip this a bit shorter. And then I just take the back of the sewing needle and just push in the remaining, and that is all of the legs done. Now for the ear. So this is where I want the ear to go. And what I do with this little tail is, so get the ear where you want it to be, and then I just sew this end down. And just come out farther down here and just leave it like that for now. And then we actually sew it down. Okay, so I think that placement is good, and it should be relatively easy to sew on compared to the legs. So once it's secure, we're just go through it one more time, and this time I'm going to come out in the same place as this tail. Like that. And then you can just tie these together. Snip off some of the excess. And then you can just push it in. And there you go. That is the finished llama. If you don't want to add the cushion, you can just leave it like this. We're going to start off with the pink yarn. And we're going to make a chain of about 11. And then you're going to work into the second stitch from the hook, and you're going to do 10 single crochets back down. So once you've done that, we are going to go back around. So you can kind of just tuck in that part. We're going to start from this stitch right here. So once you've marked off this first stitch, we are going to do an increase, and then we're going to do single crochets up until the end here. And once you get up to this part, you're going to want to do an increase on the end. You do another increase, and then just do single crochet all the way down. And then once you get to this last stitch here, we are not going to finish it and do a color change. We're going to color change to green. So what you want to do is go into the stitch like normal, yarn over and pull through a loop. And then when you have these 2 loops on your hook, you're going to take the green and finish it off with this color. So you take the green, pull it through both, and that is your color change. And now you can continue crocheting with the green. And usually what I would do is just crochet in these So the tail of the green and the pink. And we're going to do an increase. And just remember to put a stitch marker in this first green one is the first stitch. And then you can go around as normal. Once you start to get to this curve, you want to do 2 increases. This just makes sure that you get a nice curve. And you don't have to worry too much about the stitch count of this. So I'm going to do 1 more increase, so 3 increases. You might not need to. I just want to get a nice, it will stay more flat this way, and then you can continue with single crochets. At the end of this round, we are also going to change to the blue yarn, but if you haven't already, you can snip off the pink. Yarn over, pull through with the 2 loops on your hook. You're going to then take the blue and just put it on your hook, pull it through the 2 loops, and again, that is your color change. You want to just make sure you have enough of a tail here so that you can crochet into it. And like with the last round, so you want to take the green and the blue and just crochet around them. And we're going to do an increase again. And once you get to the top of the curve, you can also do probably about 2 increases. You can space them out a little bit. So I did an increase, single crochet and an increase. And that should be alright. And when you get to the end of this, you can just finish it off. I did just do an increase there to just hide some of that green, which I realized I should have done down here, but that's okay. So you're gonna want to make sure you have enough yarn for sewing. So just leave a long tail. And there you go. And you also want to snip off the green. We are going to be sewing this down, so you don't have to worry too much about these tails. And it will look something like this. So I pinned it down where I like it. I'm going to put this side on the back. It doesn't look as nice. And yeah, so just sew it down like normal. Might not have left a long enough tail. And again, just make sure you're sewing in the direction of the way you were crocheting. This is how it's looking with the cushion sewed on. And this is how it's comparing. I'm not sure how to do these little tassels, so I like the way it looks. I'm not going to be doing those. And then for this part, it's just braided together. So here is the braid. It's not the greatest. And it just goes around like this. I'm not quite sure how they attached it on. So I just threaded it through the other side of the braid, and this is the finished llama. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. This is how it compares to the one on the box. I think it turned out pretty cute, and here is the other two from this set. This is definitely the smallest one. I will be making a koala and fox tutorial soon. But yeah, I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!